over all of this. Jessica, let me begin with you. How bad was today for the White House, do you think?
Well, first, Jake, if they're not transparent enough, I don't know why we didn't think of it. We should just subpoena their phone records. Look, there's a confluence of issues here that puts the White House on the defensive. How these latest controversies impact the president really depends on how the next week plays out. That's because so far the White House has been all talk on the AP and the IRS controversies, but no action. And the White House is implying that will change as soon as the IRS comes out with an audit of its own wrongdoing. Now, we expect that audit to come very soon. And if the president's actions, if the consequences of the president's outrage are severe and swift, that could help contain the problem and steady the ship here at the White House. The truth is, we don't see any foreseeable end to the controversies regarding the DOJ's investigation of these leaks or Benghazi, so they'll just have to manage that. But it's really the IRS story that hits home for most Americans. So the White House will want to work hard, will be working hard, I should say, to try to really address the response to the IRS. We're going to see how they deal with it, Jake, in the next few days.
Joe, you were at the Justice Department today. There were times today when Attorney General Holder seemed to be staggering under the questioning. What was it like in the room?
Well, you know, I've watched Holder a lot on Capitol Hill, and he has taken a lot of tough questions and been able to deflect them. I haven't seen him really take this many tough questions from the media. So that was very different. And I think the thing that I walked away from that news conference with today was that this administration has pretty much been able to dance over the entire first term, and now this sort of day of reckoning appears to be on the horizon. Just a variety of issues that really started all the way back in May of 2012, a whole year ago, and now all of this sort of breaks out into the public sphere, this concern about sources and methods being compromised in this investigation involving the airplane plot that was thwarted, and then the AP records. So this is all a bit of a dance that this administration now has to do, Jake.
Dana, we don't expect the loyal opposition to have a consistent response. I've certainly heard Republicans criticize the president for the leaks. Now they're criticizing the president for an aggressive investigation into the leaks. But what was the response by Republicans on Capitol Hill?
You know, they couldn't get to microphones fast enough today. You saw, you know, every Tuesday, Republicans and Democrats in the Senate have their lunches, and sometimes it's just the Republican leader and maybe a couple of his lieutenants. The Republicans who wanted to come, they could barely even fit behind the lectern because they wanted to come one after the other, and they almost sort of ran out of adjectives to describe how much this is an overreach. They really directly pinned it on the president and the administration, saying it was an abuse of power. And when I say it, I'm talking about everything. They lumped it together, of course, from the IRS to these AP searches by the DOJ, and of course Benghazi, which they certainly are not forgetting about. One thing that I thought was really interesting, Jake, is that before Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader, took questions, he said this to reporters.
As you continue to file your stories on this subject, ask yourself before you write, how would I be writing this story if this were a Republican administration?
And I can tell you, Jake, that just in the hallways here, reporters are running around talking to senators and to House members. And one question that is coming up is, imagine if Dick Cheney did this.